Hi there, this is Sean, the Honest Book Reviewer, with another book review. In this video we're discussing The Golden Couple, written by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen. I haven't read a novel by these authors before, and I think they've written more books together, maybe 2 or 3. This is an okay read. It's one of the top 12 mystery or thriller novels that GOODREADS has rated for the first half of 2022. That's why I'm reading this, because I'm going through the list of 12 to see what I think of them. This is an okay read. Not the best book. There are a lot of weak parts in this book. One of the weakest parts is the fact that I think the 2 main characters don't make the most impact in this book. There's another character in this book that I think makes more impact, and I found the storyline about that character much more engaging and compelling. Let's talk more about the plot now. At the start of this novel, Marissa and her husband Matthew go see a consultant called Avery. Now, Avery used to be a therapist, but she lost her license because she has a very strange way of conducting her sessions. And what she does is she injects herself into their lives. So she follows them, spies on them, rocks up to their workplaces to talk to them, invites them out for coffee, phones them, text messages them, asks them questions about each other. She really invades their lives, and she has this strange 10-step plan where they're forced to confront each other about certain things, but also forced to cherish and celebrate what they think is successful about themselves and their relationships. But in every step, she seems to inject herself into their lives, so it's quite intrusive. Apart from that, Avery has the most compelling storyline because prior to the storyline in this book, she was a whistleblower, and she blew the whistle on some tests for new drugs to the FDA. And it got, certain companies in trouble, and they're being investigated. Those companies are after her. So she could be anywhere in her life, in the supermarket, just walking down the street, and suddenly a stranger will appear by her side or start following her, and she's always confronted by somebody asking who gave her the information, where did she get her information from, and it's very confronting, and you feel Avery's fear and her tension, you feel all that suspense with Avery through this novel, and I think that's where the thriller element comes in, and it makes Avery's storyline by far the most compelling in this book. Marissa and Matthew are just boring in comparison. That storyline by itself, when Marissa and Matthew, will put you to sleep. Even though the authors are trying to put a bit of mystery element in there, a bit of tension, suspense between Marissa and Matthew, it doesn't really work out as strong as Avery. Avery really steals the show in this book. The whole thing about Marissa and Matthew is that Marissa slept with somebody else. She won't say who it is, so the whole mystery element between them is who's the guy she slept with. Avery finds out by being her usual self, invading Marissa's personal space. She finds out. Later on, does Matthew find out? Well, we don't know. I'm not going to give that away. But that seems to be the whole thing about the couple. There's a few twists along the way with them. Towards the end, some dynamics change, things happen. It's a little bit more thrilling, so wait till the very end, but you're going to get through a whole lot of boredom with that couple to get to the very end. So thank goodness Avery's storyline is there. If it wasn't, I swear you probably wouldn't read the whole book. One of the things that stood out to me though is through this whole book, I just felt that Marissa and Matthew didn't make a good couple at all. There's nothing about them that gels. I just thought they should have split up and be done with it. And I didn't get a sense that they even wanted to be together. That's just what I felt during this book. They don't give a true sense that they want to stay a couple. They don't seem to be happy. I don't know if that's what the authors intended, but that's what I just get from the book, from the way they interact with each other, things they say, how their body language is described in the book. Everything about them just screams they want to split up. And that just seems so obvious to me throughout this whole read. Avery by far is the most engaging and the best character in this book. Through those moments where she seems hunted by people trying to find out who gave her the information to tip off the FDA, You get her feeling of fear. You get that suspense. It's almost dripping from the pages. It's so strong. Her POV is just rampant in the book. It's just so strong and much better than any other character. I really enjoyed Avery as a character, even though, I don't think she'd make a great therapist. I think just the way she pushes herself into other people's lives, invades their space, kind of gave her a bit more vibrancy and a bit more energy in the book as well. And her doing that drove the plot forward. So without Avery as a character, nothing really would have happened in this book. She drives everything, and the plot is driven by her. Everything seems to be centered around Avery, even when in scenes where she's kind of on the outskirts, maybe not in the center of the action, she's there and driving everything that's happening. So without Avery, without this great character the authors did develop, this one great character, the book I don't think would be worth reading. Marissa, I didn't empathise with her at all. I found her quite boring as a character. I didn't think that everything about her gelled, didn't make sense, it wasn't cohesive, she wasn't consistent as a character. I didn't buy into her character much at all. I found her quite boring, quite disengaging, and the authors just should have made more about her. She just seemed to be all over the place a bit, and I didn't get a sense of the true character. And I just hope that in other books the authors do right. So I do intend to read other books that are written by these people, that the characters are a bit better developed. Matthew, Marissa's husband, is a better character. He seems better crafted, better developed. There's something about him, something hidden that is underneath the surface, and we're not sure about him through the novel. What's he hiding himself? And you get a sense that he's a bit up and down in this book. You see, some anger come to the surface a bit, and he forces it down. So you're just wondering, is he a violent person? Does he have anger issues? Is something going to happen in this book? Is he going to be violent towards Marissa at any stage? Those type of things go through the book and through your mind when you read Matthew in the book. He just seems to be very unstable, but he's consistent in that. So unlike Marissa, Matthew is a consistent character. He's not the best character at all, but he's very consistent and he's engaging and he makes sense and he feels real. I didn't think this was the best book. It's above average. I rate it a 3 out of 5. I think it shows that the authors can do certain things. They can write twists. They can create some good characters. They can create some terrible characters. But Avery, a really good character, almost brilliant. If the story was about Avery, I would have loved it. But unfortunately, Avery wasn't the main character. She was almost like a side character that played a big role, but not the main character. So overall, a good mystery, bit of a thriller, not the most thrilling book that I've read, not the best book I've read by far, but strong enough to make me want to read more books by these authors. I do have other thriller novels on my channel. If you don't want to miss out on those videos, check out my channel and subscribe. There's also a thriller playlist on my channel. It should be on your screen now.